What's up, everybody? I'm B-True, and today we're going to talk about what makes Naruto Shippuden so awesome. And if I'm mispronouncing that, oh well, deal with it. Anyway, so last week I made a video about regular Naruto, so the original series on Naruto, and what I thought made it so awesome. If you haven't watched that video, I'll leave a link down in the description down below. You should definitely check that out before you watch this video, just because some of the things are going to tie in together. But anyway, so what makes Naruto Shippuden so different? Well, what I did last time is I started off with talking about the differences between Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, so I'm going to do the same thing here. Now, one of the things that I talked about was the insane difference between power levels of Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. With regular Naruto, you're dealing with characters that are just starting to learn how to be ninjas. They're still very low level as far as their destructive capabilities, and it's a lot more of a thinking, intellectual game in the battle between them. Naruto Shippuden, now you've got these characters who can single-handedly destroy villages, remove mountains, set off like pretty much nuclear bombs of jutsu, which is insane. And so power levels are insanely different between the two shows. And then on top of that, like I said, it's just the crazy jutsu and the wide-scale nature of these battles. You no longer have these tight, intimate fights. You have these battles that take place over this huge area with massive destruction. And so that's really like some of the biggest differences between Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. And for Naruto, I really enjoyed the simplicity, the simple jutsu. For Naruto Shippuden, I really enjoyed them stepping it up, them making it, bigger, badder, crazier. Excuse me, I loved all of that. So anyway, the crazy large-scale fights. That's the first thing that, for me, made Naruto Shippuden so awesome. So if you think about some of the fights, right, we've got Sasuke versus Itachi. That was like one of the first real big fights. I mean, you could argue, Deidara and Naruto, or Sakura and Sasori. But for me, really, Sasuke versus Itachi was that first fight that I was just like, oh shit, right? So that happens pretty relatively early into the show. I still have no idea what actually happened in the first, 10 minutes of that fight. That part where they're, genjutsuing each other back and forth, I still, to this day, don't actually know what happened. I don't know what was real. I don't know what wasn't real. Shit blew my mind. And then they kind of finally bust out. They stop with the genjutsu and they go with the ninjutsu. And that's when I was like, oh, okay, so this is pretty awesome still. But I was just like, what the fuck is happening in this fight right now? And it was amazing. I absolutely loved that. I loved actually being confused at a fight. And, I don't know what's real. Then we've got, obviously, one of the best fights of all time, Naruto versus Pain. I mean, you've got a top 5 across every single show entrance / start to a fight. Top 5 easily. Probably top 3. There's obviously a lot of animes that I haven't watched, but you're just going to struggle to find a better entrance to it and a start to a fight than the Pain versus Naruto fight. You've got an amazing rage moment, which, iconic of anime, but still, it's iconic for a reason, because everybody loves it. It's awesome. That moment where you see his eyes change and they turn red, and you see the Nine Tails just take over, and you're like, well, shit's about to hit the fan. And then you kind of have this back and forth between raw power and intellectual strategy, right? So you have Pain just showing off, throwing his Shinra Tenseis around, just whipping bodies back and forth. And then you've got Naruto in his nine-tail form, just raw power, just exploding everything, Biju bombs like crazy. And then you have normal Naruto, and he's trying to plan out how's he going to get to Pain. How is he going to break through his Shinra Tensei? He figures out, okay, there's a 3-second delay. How do I get in there in that 3 seconds? Stuff like that. And that kind of back and forth makes that fight so amazing. And you got Sasuke versus the Kage, right? So you've got Sasuke just starting to kind of hit some really, really high levels of power. He finally has Susanoo, and then his Mangekyo Sharingan mixed with that, and then his natural ability. And you see Sasuke somewhat holding his own against the most powerful leaders in the world. I mean, they are for all intents and purposes, the leaders of the world. You know, you've got the Akatsuki members who are obviously just as strong as the Kage, if not more, but not a lot of people know about them. The Kage are like the representation of power in the world, and Sasuke not only is taking on one of them, but he's taking on all 5 of them at the same time. And obviously he wasn't going to win that fight, but he held his own for a very long time. I mean, he forced the Raikage to have to cut off his own arm, for God's sakes. So you see, that was an awesome fight. Kind of watching him, you know, punch but get punched. You know, this is the first time that Sasuke really... I shouldn't say first time. He did struggle against Itachi, but this is the first time that he really, like... Oh, and Killer B. Okay, never mind. Sasuke struggled a lot in this show. But it's because he was constantly trying to step out, like, above his boundaries. He wasn't quite... He didn't quite understand where he was in the power level yet. But then you've got Sasuke versus Danzo. And this wasn't a particularly amazing fight one way or the other. I just really loved Danzo dying. It was amazing for me. I wanted him to die for so long. So I was like, finally, yes, Danzo died. He had that great payoff. The entire Great Ninja War. Every single fight in the Great Ninja War was crazy. You think about all the reanimated 7 swordsmen and Kakashi versus the 7 swordsmen. You think about, you know, like... when you had the Gold and the Silver brothers. You think about having Deidara back. You got Kakuzu back. You got all these crazy members back and they can't be killed. And it's like, what the hell am I supposed to do? And then, obviously, one of the biggest ones was seeing Madara for the first time at full strength. This is the first time that we ever really watched Madara fight in the entire series. You think about all throughout Naruto and then all throughout, I mean, 3/4 of Naruto Shippuden, we've heard about Madara. We've heard of what he's capable of. You know, he was built up to be this insane god. We never see him, and then all of a sudden, boom, there he is. And he shows up against this wave of ninja. I mean, like a sea of ninja, and he just runs head first at them. And these thousands of ninja are more scared of this one guy for good reason, because when he shows up, shit hits the fan, and he just starts going berserk on people. I mean, the shit that he was just playing around with them, having fun in the beginning. Then he busts out the Susanoo. Then he takes on all 5 Kage and easily handles them without, like, before he even brings out his clones, and he's handling these 5 Kage. Watching him fight for the first time after having such a long build-up was such a satisfying moment. So amazing. Seeing what this guy was truly capable of. Watching him literally destroy a mountain because he swung his sword a little too hard. Crazy, crazy. So those large-scale fights were so awesome for me. They were so entertaining. I absolutely loved them. You had these fights that took, you know, many, many episodes, which I really enjoyed. Then we've got another reason that makes Naruto Shippuden so awesome. We've got the character growth and the relationships that develop throughout this show. So, think about in the original Naruto, okay? You've got Sasuke, who is the popular one, and you've got Naruto, who's the loner that nobody talks about, or really wants to talk to, I should say. In Naruto Shippuden, you watch this dynamic completely flip 180 degrees as Naruto starts to become the one who's loved by everybody. He becomes this hero. He starts to get everybody as his friend. Everybody loves him. Everybody's rooting for him, cheering him on. And you watch Sasuke fall deeper and deeper into depression, into a state of loneliness, right? He further isolates himself from everybody around him. And even his team members, with Suigetsu and Jugo, they're only there to help him. He doesn't care about them at all. He was willing to sacrifice Karin. He didn't care. And so you watch this dynamic flip, and that character growth was so drastic with them completely changing roles like that. Then you think about learning the truth about Itachi, right? So when you finally learn the truth about Itachi, it's like everything that you thought you knew about the show. I mean, if you think about it, Itachi was the main antagonist from the very beginning of the show. We just didn't know about him that much, right? The whole reason that the show progressed the way that it did was because Sasuke was trying to get power because he had to kill his brother, right? The reason that Sasuke ended up going to Orochimaru. The reason that Orochimaru kind of became it, engulfed it in the first place. The reason that Naruto wanted to get stronger so that he could get Sasuke back. All of that happened because of Itachi. And so you're made to believe that Itachi is this horrible, horrible person for so long. And then you learn the truth about Itachi. And it's just like this major groundbreaking revelation in your head that I personally never saw coming, never even imagined it. I'm sure most people didn't have any clue that that was going to happen. And then you hear this stuff, you're like, oh wait, Itachi's actually a hero. He's such a hero that he was willing to kill his whole family and bear the burden of being this outcast from society forever just to save the rest of the village. Like, you're like, he is the epitome of a hero. And I loved Itachi before I found out that he was actually a good guy. I loved him as a bad guy. I thought he was amazing. Then when I found out that he was actually the good guy, not a good guy, the good guy. When I found out that he was the good guy, I fell in love with the character so much. And like, this guy is willing to do things that nobody else would have been willing to do for the greater good. And so you find this out, and you go back and you think about everything that you've known up to that point. Everything that you thought you knew going up to that point was pretty much wrong. I mean, everything that you had in your head was pretty much wrong, and you had to start rethinking all these situations. You think about the first time Itachi goes to Konoha, right? You think that he's there to try and capture Naruto or to screw with his brother. And it turns out he was only there just to remind everybody that he's still alive, and that if you touch his brother, he'll kill you. Like, he went there to remind the higher-ups that he was still alive, and to remind them that Sasuke is off limits. And it makes sense now in his fights. He never tried to hurt anybody. He only ever tried to avoid combat. He specifically stopped Kisame from fighting against Kurenai and Gai Sensei just because he didn't want anybody from the Hidden Leaf to get hurt. He simply wanted to show up and remind everybody that he was there. So you start rethinking all these things, and it gives you a whole new dynamic and a whole new perspective to the show. And that kind of twist, that gigantic plot twist, really hooks you in. You're just like, oh shit, this is an amazing show. This has been a plot twist that was coming from the series before, right? This plot twist started in Naruto, and it took until almost halfway through Naruto Shippuden to really, like, kick in. How crazy is that? That is insane build up to a twist that nobody really saw coming. And another thing, as far as just the whole growth goes, you've got watching Naruto for the first time really struggle with his convictions, right? He actually has his confidence shaken. So Naruto was always this character who stood by his word, right? He had uber confidence in himself. He never let anybody put him down in his own head. He always believed in himself. He always knew that he could be something. He always knew that he could get stronger. And, you know, he had his ninja way. He would never break his ninja way for anything. And then for the first time in Shippuden, you actually see Naruto's confidence kind of get shaken. And this is a really good life lesson to everybody, because this will happen to everybody. No matter how confident you are, no matter how sure of yourself you are, there are going to be times when you have to question, you know, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Should I be this confident in myself? You know, things like that. And watching a character like Naruto do it really allows you to relate with him in that instance, right? So you think about it, Naruto always is, I'm going to bring Sasuke back. I'm going to bring Sasuke back. I'm going to bring Sasuke back. A few times in Shippuden, he actually has to come to grips with the idea that, you know, can Sasuke be saved, or is he worth being saved anymore? You know, has he gone so far over the edge that he can no longer be saved? And he has to really struggle with that a few times that concept comes up, and he, he's almost brought to his knees in tears, thinking like, should I just give up on Sasuke? Should I, is it possible to save him anymore? And he always fights through those feelings. He always eventually believes that he can do it, but he does have his confidence shaken, and you in life are going to have your confidence shaken. I mean, that's just the way that it is. I've had my confidence shaken. I deal with it, every now and then with my current dream of trying to win the CrossFit Games. There's days when I wake up and I think, am I good enough to do this? Is it actually possible for me to reach this goal, to reach this dream? Am I doing enough, or am I just wasting my time in something that I can never do? And you have to find ways to keep believing in yourself, to fight through that. Don't ever let that bring you down. Then another thing, so if you think back to when Naruto was talking to Pain, right? So Naruto always said, listen, I'm going to get rid of all the hatred. I'm going to get rid of all the hatred in the world, and I'm going to create peace. And Nagato said, yeah, that was my goal too. And my way of going about that was to kill everybody who had hatred, and then we'll just create this perfect utopia where, nobody has feelings anymore. And Naruto is so convinced that that's the wrong way to do it. And Nagato asks, all right, so what's your plan for peace? How do you get rid of hatred in the world? And I think for the first time, Naruto really realized that he didn't have a solid plan. He didn't have a good plan he didn't know how he was going to get rid of all the hatred in the world. He knew that he hated Nagato because Nagato destroyed his village and Nagato killed Jiraiya. He hated Nagato, and he knows how that cycle of hatred works. And for the first time, Naruto's just like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't have a good plan for it. And again, his confidence is shaken. And Nagato's like, well, if you don't know, how am I ever supposed to believe in you or to trust you that you're going to do this if you don't know yourself? And again, Naruto, he's shaken, his confidence is broken, but he fights through it. And he says, listen, I don't have a plan, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going, this is what my life is meant for. This is what I'm going to do. And he fights through that. He finally gets Nagato to believe in him, and his confidence is brought back again. But it's just this growth of watching Naruto as he hits these peaks and these valleys with his character, where he goes from, being this super confident character to really being beaten down to about as far as he could get without losing his willpower, right? I mean, he gets beat down, psychologically in this show, and he always finds a way to break back through. But that growth of his character was amazing, and it really hooked me into him, to Naruto as a character. So another thing that makes Naruto Shippuden pretty awesome is it's full of reality, right? So normal Naruto, not so much. And by reality, what I'm referring to is the fact that these are ninja, right? This show reminds you that these are ninja fighting for their lives. They're fighting to the death, right? These aren't just awesome fights of two ninja going at it. Like, these are actual life and death fights, and it's a very cold world. I mean, you think about when Asuma dies, right? Asuma dies kind of out of nowhere. Like, you see it, and then Shikamaru and all those guys keep, like, saving him at the last second, and you're like, oh, okay, they're not going to kill him. And then he dies. And you're just like, oh, shit. And Jiraiya dies, right? Neji dies. I mean, this show, for the first time in the series, really is like, hey, listen, these characters can die. You're going up against these ninja that are insanely powerful, that you don't know what they do, and it's very, very possible for these characters to die. And I like that they actually hit you with that. And then if you think about the Great Ninja War, you watch countless people die. Like, it really hammers home how horrible that war is. Like, you've always heard about these Great Ninja Wars, but now you actually see it in person, and you watch all these people dying, and it's just like, oh, that's right. This might be a show, but, it's reality. Like, these ninja can and will die in these fights. And I like that reality. I like that it really grounds you, and it's just like, oh, hey, by the way, you know, people die. Good people die. So yeah, and then just two things again, kind of from the last video, like I said, because it sticks with the same theme. Naruto Shippuden is extremely emotional. It hits you on these levels, right? It's the same as with Naruto. You have these intense moments that are backed with just such an incredibly good soundtrack that heightens those emotions, that heightens those feelings. I mean, you think about the show makes you sad, makes you happy, makes you fired up. Like, you feel like you want to go outside and punch through a brick wall. Like, it hits every emotion on the spectrum, and it has an amazing soundtrack that really enhances all those emotions. And I talked about all that with normal Naruto, but it applies just as much for Naruto Shippuden. And if you watch the whole way through the show, right, you I don't want to spoil it, but the final fight, right, you know what I mean, the final fight, if you didn't have tears in your eyes during that fight, you're a liar. If you didn't have tears in your eyes when Jiraiya died, you're a liar. Like, it's just, the show hits you so emotionally, so hard. And that emotional roller coaster mixed in with the action and the lessons really makes this show amazing. And then speaking of lessons, of course, last but not least, we have one more kind of lesson here. And it has to go with that growth that I talked about with Naruto, which is why I spent so much time talking about it. But you've got this life lesson of sticking to your word, right? Don't ever let anybody change who you are or what you believe in. You're going to have your confidence shaken. You're going to get beaten down by life, because life is difficult. Life is cruel. Things don't work out the way that you just want them to because you want them to. The only way that life works out the way that you want it to is if you go out and you make it work that way, right? So you have to stick by your word. You have to find a creed or something that you live by, and no matter what happens in your life, you stick with it. You don't ever let anybody change you. You don't ever let anybody tell you that, you know, your beliefs are wrong, okay? So yeah, that is what makes Naruto Shippuden so awesome. Whew. A long video, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of awesomeness. There's a really long series, and some of those fights, like I said, crazy fights. Anyway, thank you guys all so much for watching this video, and thank you to everybody who watched the whole way through the video. If you're watching right now, you guys are all awesome. You're really helping my channel grow, and I cannot thank you enough. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Whew. Let me know what you guys think about this video, and if you watch the Naruto, what makes Naruto so awesome. Let me know what made this show awesome for you guys. I like knowing what your thoughts are versus what my thoughts are. This is completely subjective. These are all just my thoughts on why I enjoy the show so much. So, you know, if everybody's going to be a little bit different. There are going to be parts that people enjoyed, parts that people didn't enjoy, characters that people loved, characters that people hated. That's just the way that it goes. So let me know what made the show awesome for you down below. So thank you guys all so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. You're all the best. I got the best subscribers in the world. I can't thank you enough for that. Hope you guys all have a great day. I'll see you all in the next video, and peace.